War is humanity's oldest shadow. It is not just a clash of armies, it is fear, trauma, and memory imprinted into the very soil. For thousands of years, men and women have marched into battle, only to leave behind more than broken cities and unmarked graves. They left echoes. Every war produces stories the history books refuse to print. Testimonies whispered among veterans, legends passed down in hushed tones, and experiences so strange they blur the line between reality and nightmare. From Civil War battlefields in America, to blood-soaked trenches of Europe, to the dense jungles of Vietnam and the endless deserts of the Middle East, soldiers have spoken of things that defy explanation. Phantom battalions, voices on silent radios, apparitions in tunnels, even beings that seem far older than war itself. These are not stories from outsiders. These are stories from soldiers who lived, fought, and survived, only to return with memories that haunt them more than the war itself. Tonight we explore these paranormal encounters from soldiers at war. Ghosts of the battlefield. Gettysburg, the Phantom Regiment, the American Civil War, was one of the bloodiest conflicts in U.S. history, and Gettysburg was its deadliest battle. Over 50,000 men were killed, wounded, or missing after just 3 days of combat in July 1863. The town was turned into a field of corpses, hospitals, and despair. To this day, visitors and soldiers stationed nearby claim Gettysburg is haunted. Park rangers have heard footsteps in empty fields, and tourists tell of entire groups witnessing phantom soldiers in formation, marching across the misty fields at dusk. The most famous tale is of a group of military cadets visiting the battlefield in the 1990s. While exploring Devil's Den, they suddenly saw a man in a tattered Civil War uniform approach them. He reportedly shouted, "What you're looking for is over there," then pointed before vanishing. Others describe strange photographs, hazy figures standing in formation where no reenactors were present. Some swear they've heard cannons roaring in the distance. Many believe Gettysburg is so haunted because the sheer amount of death occurred in such a short span of time. Soldiers didn't receive proper burials. Many died calling for their mothers, and the violence etched itself into the land. For those who walk those fields at night, it's said you don't just feel history, you relive it. 2 World War. The Angel of Mons. The year was 1940. The war was young, and British troops at Mons, Belgium, were vastly outnumbered by advancing German forces. Soldiers braced for annihilation. And then, something extraordinary happened. Survivors later claimed that as German forces pressed forward, a brilliant, shining figure appeared in the sky. Some described it as a giant angel wielding a sword. Others swore they saw spectral archers firing volleys of arrows into the enemy. The Germans reportedly halted their attack, confused and terrified, giving the British a chance to retreat. The press quickly spread the story, calling it the Angel of Mons. For some, it was divine intervention. For others, it was a hallucination born of exhaustion and terror. Yet, hundreds of men reported seeing it independently, and their descriptions were strikingly similar. Whether an angel, a trick of the mind, or something else entirely, the Angel of Mons remains one of the most mysterious wartime encounters ever recorded. 3. Vietnam War. Wandering spirits. The Vietnam War was unlike any other conflict for American soldiers. The dense jungles, unfamiliar terrain, and guerrilla tactics left soldiers in constant paranoia. But some terrors weren't human at all. Vietnamese culture holds a strong belief in wandering souls, spirits of the dead who never received proper burial. Locals performed rituals to appease these souls, leaving offerings of food and incense. American soldiers began to encounter strange things that matched these beliefs. Radios picked up phantom voices speaking either English or Vietnamese. Entire platoons reported hearing footsteps and whispers when no one was around. Men claimed to see pale, gaunt figures moving silently through the trees, vanishing before contact. One Marine recalled waking in the night to see a figure at the edge of camp. Thinking it was an enemy scout, he raised his rifle, only for the figure to slowly dissolve into mist. Some soldiers admitted they were more afraid of the spirits than the Viet Cong. In a land already hostile and unfamiliar, the supernatural became yet another enemy they couldn't fight. Haunted bases and bunkers. 4. Okinawa. Up at Camp Hansen on the island of Okinawa, countless lives were lost during World War II. Today, U.S. Marines stationed at Camp Hansen speak of strange occurrences. The most famous story is of a ghostly soldier who appears at the front gate. Dressed in a World War II uniform, he approaches guards asking for a cigarette. When they reach out to hand him one, he vanishes. Other Marines report doors slamming in locked barracks, footsteps pacing hallways, and lights flickering with no electrical fault. Some say the entire camp feels watched at night. Locals believe the spirits of Okinawa's dead, both soldiers and civilians, still wander restless from the violence that consumed their home. 5. Normandy. France. Ghosts of D-Day. On June 6, 1944, the Allied invasion of Normandy began. Thousands of soldiers stormed the beaches, and thousands more never left them. Modern-day visitors often describe paranormal experiences on these very beaches. Phantom gunfire echoes at night. The smell of smoke and blood lingers on the wind. Dark figures in old uniforms run silently across the sand before vanishing into thin air. NATO soldiers stationed nearby tell of waking to see spectral figures standing at attention outside their tents. Others claim to hear men screaming as though drowning in the surf. Normandy's haunting is not confined to ghost stories. Its history itself repeating, etched into the soil. Cold War bunkers. The tapping in the dark. Europe is filled with abandoned Cold War bunkers, concrete fortresses meant to withstand nuclear war. But soldiers who patrolled them reported unnerving phenomena. Men heard faint Morse code tapping against sealed steel doors. Entire guard posts described footsteps pacing empty corridors. Some radios picked up chatter from no known frequency. The most chilling reports describe whispers in the dark, conversations that seemed to come from inside the walls. Were they ghosts of the past, or something older, inhabiting places humans were never meant to build? War never truly ends. Its ghosts are not only in books or cemeteries, but in the earth itself. When soldiers return with stories of phantom comrades, voices in radios, or apparitions standing in the night, perhaps we should believe them. Because for those who fought and died, the battlefield was not the end. It was only the beginning.